We were just talking about this idea that you shouldn't be in a relationship that makes you unhappy, right? Or that you shouldn't be with someone that doesn't meet your needs, that fundamentally robs you of your peace or constantly makes you feel anxious, constantly makes you feel like you're not good enough. And there's a very big reason why you shouldn't be in a situation like that. And there's a recipe for self-love that will make sure you never are in a situation like that again. And it's not the recipe for self-love that's being prescribed out there in so many different places that I see. The self-love concept makes me run away.
Okay.
Because it feels so muddied by sort of generic self-help advice, and it gets constantly conflated with self-care, and it also just always feels a bit woo-woo, like I don't know how to connect to it.
Yes.
I'm a very rational, logical person. I need a bulletproof way to connect to a concept, or I'm not going to use it. And whenever I heard anyone talking about self-love, something about it felt somehow indulgent to me. It felt egotistical. It didn't, and like ego's the problem, right? Ego's the problem in the first place. When I would ask audiences, why should you love yourself? Because if I said, should you love yourself? Is it important? Everyone would, yeah, of course. Everyone agreed that was like important. But when I said, well, why should you love yourself? People were really struggled with the answer to that question. And I would wait for an answer. I'd just sit there in silence with the audience. I did this at my retreat every year for years. I would just sit in silence while the audience came up with an answer to why to love yourself. And eventually someone would say, well, because we deserve it. And I'd say, okay, but why do you deserve it? Like, let's explore that. Why do you deserve self-love? Or why do you deserve love? Well, because I'm generous, because I'm ambitious, because I take care of my family, because I work really hard, because they would start reeling off these qualities. And I'd be like, this is a problem, because you're not those things every minute of the day. So are you saying you don't deserve love when you're not those things? And people would suddenly realize why they hated themselves so much of the time, because they were never living up to this thing that they thought, if I'm these things, then I'm lovable. So anytime they said a mean thing, anytime they were selfish, anytime they didn't show up for their family, anytime they didn't work hard, they would suddenly go straight to, I'm detestable. I deserve contempt. So that didn't work. Not to mention, even on your days where you are those things, there's always someone who's more of them. So if someone can walk into the room and they're more hardworking, or they're more ambitious, or they're kinder, or they're more generous, do they deserve more self-love than you deserve?
Right.
That's a problem. So all of that model is equivalent to giving yourself love on the days where you get an A in life, but not on the days where you don't. And to me, I knew that was a way that I have beat myself up in a masochistic way my whole life. Because by my standards, I'm never living up to what I think I need to live up to in order to be deserving of love. I've never worked hard enough. As long as there's something on my to-do list still, I go to bed thinking, oh, I didn't get that done. Oh, see, couldn't get that done. Like, I would wake up every morning in deficit going, I need to earn my love today. You know, like, no matter how hard I worked, it only counted up until midnight last night.
Oh, man.
And then I'd go to bed for 6 hours, wake up, and I go, right, you're in deficit again. Now you've got to earn that love again. That was how I lived my whole life. So for me, when I heard all these reasons why you should love yourself, I was like, this is exactly why I've found it hard to love myself. And I believe that's the same for everyone else too. So we have to get away from that model. And I almost think of that model almost like the romantic model, the way we fall in love with other people. I love someone else because they have all these great qualities and I want to get close to them. And the truth is, the closer we get to someone, the more their mystery evaporates and the more familiar we get with them. And even in relationships with other people, what's the saying? Familiarity breeds contempt. So the closer we get to someone, the more we start to see their flaws and we forget about or take for granted all of the things they do really well, the more we start to feel like, this person's not as great as I thought. Or we get bored of them. And over time, a lot of long-term relationships end because there's contempt, right? Familiarity breeds contempt. Well, if familiarity breeds contempt, who would we have more contempt for than ourselves? We have spent every second with ourselves since the day we were born. If familiarity breeds contempt when it comes to ourselves, there's almost no room for anything else. So what I realize is, this model, the romantic model for loving ourselves, is broken. We're not going to ever fall in love with ourselves the way that we easily fall in love with other people. We're going to need a more robust model. And I started looking around for other places that model existed. So one of them was the parent-child relationship, where with a parent and a child, if you ask a parent, why do you love your child? A parent doesn't say, well, because they got an A in maths yesterday, and because, have you seen how hard they work at school? And, they look so cute in that dress this morning. And you ask, why do you love your child? A parent will go, they're my child. They're mine. Well, what if you took that model and you used that as your model for self-love? How do you use that as your model? Well, imagine that on day one, the first day of your life, you were given a human. Whether by God or nature or whatever you believe, it doesn't matter. This works for all belief systems. On day one, you have a human. You're lucky enough to get a human in the first place, right? Most of the sperm that have ever existed never turned into a human. So you got a human. Your job, your only job in your life, is to take care of that human.
Yes.
You don't have any other job. Like, you may take on lots of other jobs, friendships, marriage, a career, but the one job you always have, no matter what, is you have to take care of this human. Look after them, nurture them, support them, encourage them, stand up for them. Try to give this human the best life you can. When you look at life through that lens, and by the way, when you were growing up, someone else's job was to keep you alive. But what no one told you at 18 years old or whenever you decided to go out into the world is, hey, from now on, you have full custody of this human. So your job from now till the day you die is to give this human the best experience of it